Oh, down by the sea in a cottage by the ocean, replacing an outdated linoleum kitchen floor with beautiful terracotta ceramic tile. Whoa, it's slippery!
Hi, I'm Joe Lorario.
And I'm Ed Feldman, and here we are in Longport, New Jersey, a seaside town with some fine, big, beautiful, old and new homes.
And we're in a 100-year-old cottage.
Well, it's a cottage, but it's huge. It's got about 8 bedrooms and as many bathrooms. It's called the Hathaway Cottage, named so for Bill Shakespeare's wife, who may or may not have lived in a cottage just like this one.
But I know
it couldn't have been as large.
She did like cottage fries. Anyway, this house has been in the Rusk family for 5 generations.
Since 1917. And what did they buy it for in 1917?
$4,999.99.
Hard to buy a stick of gum for that much.
And there's the deed.
All over is beautiful fumed oak stickly furniture that we know quite well.
Yes.
Gorgeous oak beams and staircases and woodwork.
And today, we're going to be replacing a 40-year-old linoleum tile.
One of the ugly things in the house.
Yeah.
With brand new ceramic tile. And I'm standing next to her.
No.
Yes. Hi, this is Valerie Rusk, one of the owners from the 5th generation of owners of this house.
The 5th generation.
Wow.
You grew up, you had your little summers, you were this big.
Yep. Ever since birth.
What have you chosen for us today?
A
Nice kitty, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Marazzi.
Marazzi. A Marazzi tile from Avalon Carpet and Tile.
Oh, yeah, we were there. Big showroom.
Beautiful.
Linoleum.
Beautiful.
So much
place.
things that it's amazing that you can choose something. There's so much
Took a
wonderful
long
tile.
time.
This is a terracotta tile that kind of echoes the color of the brick outside and some of the roof colors, too.
Yeah.
So it's like a good country look for a country type house. It's good in the kitchen, it's durable, and these tiles are about a foot square. So when you get the square footage, you just multiply that and get a few extra too.
We have boxes and boxes of this. I'm sure we'll have more than enough.
Well, I've got to go to the beach, and Kitty and I expect it all to be done by the time I get back.
Pass the buttered scones. Every so often here in the clubhouse, we like to have a friend who actually knows what he's doing. And here he is, Doug Stasek of the Homework.
Hey, Doug.
King of the floor man down here at the beach.
Floorman.
He's going to give us his expert advice about this floor, and he's told us that we need to encapsulate this. So why do you want to encapsulate rather than just rip it up and throw it away?
Well, the biggest thing, more important, it's safer to keep it down. Old days, it's made out of asbestos.
Oh.
So there could be asbestos in here.
Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
that's the best reason.
So basically, that's the reason, and it's costly to rip it up.
Okay, and to cover it is conforming with all local, national, state, and Interpol codes.
As far as I'm aware.
So we'll keep all that nasty stuff underneath.
Yes.
And what are we going to use to
Endurance
cover
is
it?
always good.
A cement board known as Wonder Board. It's cement with like a screen mesh that's
Okay.
compressed and
And it's sandwiched and then
right.
they just cut
Water
it into
enough to
sheets.
convert it.
I don't believe
Okay,
it.
let's get to it, but before, show them the dome, babe.
Hello. Now, before you begin, remove all the baseboards. Then measure to see how many sheets of Wonder Board you'll need. Isn't this wonderful? Measure the room at its longest and widest points. We get 16 by 14. So you multiply the length times the width to get your square footage, which comes out to 224. Wonder Board comes in 3 by 5 sheets, 15 square feet. So we'll need about 18 sheets to do the job.
We're not waxing and polishing, but we are getting all the dust up so it doesn't stick to our double-duty adhesive, which we're going to use to lay down the Wonder Board. Now, the Wonder Board is laid down in a staggered fashion.
See?
That way, the seams never match up, so you don't have one long seam saying, oh, that's one, I know where the seam is.
It
You
makes
don't
it
want
stronger
that.
this way for the bed of
Right.
tiles.
The first thing we have to do is snap a line.
So we're going to
Not
measure
not for
out
the-
3 feet just so we know where to put the mastic.
Right, not for the board, because the board's going to hug up right against this board here. But we don't want a whole lot of adhesive over on a place where we haven't put Wonder Board. We don't want to be stepping in it. On your mark, get set, go.
There you go. Now we know where to put the adhesive. Oh, this is nice adhesive, isn't it?
Right, it's double-duty tile adhesive, but we're using it for the Wonder Board.
And it's a V-notch trowel. I don't know if you can see that. It's got like a bunch of V's, like, almost like a saw blade.
Right, and that's what's giving you this grain. Now, slop it on good and liberal. You want to get a swirl. I'm going to hand you this end.
Perfect, you get that.
And I'm going to put this end down on the other Wonder Board so you can just drag it over there.
I'm going to drag it over right to the edge. Right in there.
And you can work it back to me over on this side. There. And I'll work it up into the corner.
Right. And we're using some grabber drywall screws.
Right, and we're going to put about 4 across and about 6 or 7 rows down.
Should be fun. We'll meet in the middle, bump heads.
Let's see, what shall we fit in here? Sicilian pizza, of course. No, a piece of wonder board, but it has to be cut. It has to be cut to, well, 30 inches in width or length, depending on which way you're looking at this square. And we know that it's 3 feet wide, 36 inches. So we'll just cut it. Hey, Joe, give me a 30-inch piece.
I heard Ed holler 30. There we go, 30. Let's make a mark here. There's the 30 down here. We'll do another 30. And then we connect the dots using a simple straight edge. In this case, I'm going to use the level. Now I'm going to use this little blade, little wonder blade. See, it's got a diamond impregnated blade. This belonged to Neil Diamond, I think. Pull the wonder blade across the mark rather than pushing it like you would a regular saw. And as always, wear safety glasses like the kind I keep losing. Hey, Ed, come out here and get it yourself.
Secret hand signals. Don't go away, we'll be back.
I reckon.
Do you like tile, kids? We're here with Doug Stasic of Homeworks, Tile Man Extraordinaire, and we're going to ask you first, why didn't you level? Why didn't you set a level on this?
Yeah, are you not on the level or what?
We're on the level. In old homes, it's really hard. The floors are so out of whack sometimes from settlement and just over years. So if you tried to level it, you could get yourself into a major problem.
Another thing we're going to start doing pretty soon is setting the working lines. Now, a lot of people start in the center and make a big cross there.
You have perpendicular lines right in the center of the room.
Right.
You have a center point.
It even says that in some books.
Yeah, sometimes you can do that. That's good. But what happens when you do that, you get cuts everywhere.
Okay.
So our focus here is to get full tiles where your focal point's at.
Okay.
On this side and over there.
So you have as
Okay.
few cuts as possible.
Few cuts as possible.
Right, so you want it to be as pretty and finished where people look the most, like down
Right.
at that end.
Right.
And coming into the room.
Exactly,
Right,
right. Okay.
We're going to set this against this wall,
Right, because we're going full tiles against this wall, our focal point.
and then we'll put this one against here.
Now, why are we setting 2 tiles? Well, when you set tiles like this, we're going to be working in a square of 4. And that way you can reach all the tiles that you set.
Because
and
these
then
are
move-
big tiles.
Right, and then move almost a foot on a side, and then move to another series of 4 right next to
So
it.
the gap-
you always have room to work.
The gap we want between the tiles is about 3/16, 1/8 inch to 3/16. So we're going to go
Grout. We're going to be
3/16.
talking about grout, because I like to say grout.
Grout. There's about 3/16. Right about there. We set 2 tiles over here in the same fashion. I'll get over here.
And you take this little chalk
And you go over there. Run straight to the wall.
Right, and I'm using these 2 tiles as my guide. We're going to set our longest line or control line, the line that runs the length of the kitchen. And we're not setting it 2 squares out, 2 tiles out. We're setting it 3 tiles out because back here we have a cabinet here, and the bottom kick, which contains the plinth,
The plinth?
it comes out too far for us to set 2 squares, 2 tiles, so we have to come 3 tiles out.
Not 2, but 3.
Not 2, but 3. Get the space.
Now, what this line is going to do, it's going to intersect our other line.
And over here on the corner of control and focal, we will do our famous 3-4-5 calculation. That's to make sure our lines are square so we can lay the tile square. We'll measure 4 feet out on that leg of the triangle.
3 here, and the base of our triangle should be 5.
Or the hypotenuse,
Right.
for you Pythagoras fans. And we'll measure from the 1, the James Brown method of measuring. That means you got to pull it out to 49,
There we go.
which is 4 feet plus an inch. Almost on the seam there. How
Okay.
lucky can you get? All right, now
Now
we'll
we gotta
take
go
the
over
3
here.
leg.
You take
And
that.
why don't you hold that on the 1?
On the 1.
And I would be going out to 37.
All right. You got that point right there.
And let's see, and we're always surprised.
I'm on the 1. Hold on.
Okay, so we should be 61 inches 5 feet 1. You got it, Chief.
Hey, how
we're
about
there.
that?
Before we set the tile, we've got to tape the seams of the Wonder board. We're going to use the straight edge of the notched trowel. Spread on a layer of thin-set mortar. That's the same mortar we're going to use later to set the tiles with. And then cut a piece of perforated tape to size and press it onto the seam. Then cover with a thin layer of the mortar.
Look at this. We got 2 tiles laid already, and now we're going to put in another 4 tiles.
Another 4 with the same mud that we mixed up according to directions.
I'm going to use the same trowel Ed was using with the 3/8
notches.
Edge. Notches, not Fritos.
This time we're going to use the notches, too.
And we'll go, going to lay down
Liberally.
a few batches.
Because we're doing 4 at a time. We're going to go right up to the edge, and you want to make all your corn rows, which is what your notches are making, all even. They can be swirled, straight, perpendicular, but the height has to be the same.
Begin laying tile at the intersection of your 2 lines. Work in squares of 4.
Here, now you need the sponge.
Do I need the sponge?
You need the sponge to clean the mud. That's what it's for, hon. Now let's check the spacing. And what are we doing? 3/8 inches?
No,
Or
3/16.
3/16. Did I miss another meeting?
You missed that meeting. You know what I need? I need that hammer.
Now you're going to set that tile down in there because that tile is nice and thick. It needs to be hammered down so the fluted arrangement of mud spreads out and holds it and grabs it and says, "You're mine. You ain't going anywhere." Now repeat the same process for every single tile. Drop it in place, check your spacing, and lightly hammer with a rubber mallet to set it. Use a damp sponge to clean up any excess mortar. We've already done 4 courses. We're doing it in groups of 4. And now every time we do 2 new courses, 2 new rows of tiles, we're going to measure and
we're gonna
snap
strike a new line.
Right. Now remember our control line, our long lengthwise line, that never changes. We always keep to that, hence the name control.
And here we're going with the 23 3/4 measurement, which is the bottom of this tile, or the edge of this tile.
Right,
And we
with the
transferred
2
this
tiles.
measurement, 23 3/4, on that end.
Right, we made a little tick in the mud itself.
Right there, right there.
And
That's a
now
tick.
let's snap a line. You can snap a line in mud. It has been proven.
Ready?
Snap that, Johnson.
Now, because the tiles themselves are square, you don't have to 3, 4, 5 the corners again. Continue laying tiles the same way, but once you've established a flow, you no longer need to measure for your spacing. Just keep your line straight and your life. Ed,
We'll be back with more Space Patrol after this.
Huh?
Say zoom.
Zoom.
Yeah.
Denny Megan over here is watching me, and he's been teaching me. How long you been doing this, Danny? So you're supposed to say right away. Supposed to say too long.
Too long?
See, that's, now, how long you been doing this, Danny?
Too long.
There you go. That's a laugh line. See. All right. Now we'll drop a tile in over here.
Right in your first corner.
We're gonna drop a line right here,
Catch
right?
both lines.
You want to catch the end line and the side line there.
Exactly. Control line
Okay.
and vertical line.
Plop.
You got it.
I love that sound. Now we got this over here,
Now we
which
got a problem.
we're running into the wall, but it's bigger than the wall. So we got to cut this, right?
Yeah, make a cut. You gotta make a mark.
Now, how are we going to do
Hold
that?
that right on the wall.
Hold this on the
'Cause it
wall.
doesn't matter. They're all 4 sides.
Right.
All 4 corners. Now we allow for a joint, Joe.
Yeah.
Joint, and then we allow a little space for the wall in case the wall's improper.
So-
which usually are in these old houses.
So you're leaving space for the
Yeah,
for the
for
grout
both
line
sides.
also. Okay, both
Yeah.
sides, right. So now how are we
That's
going to
our
cut
mark.
this? I'm not
That's
going to
our
cut this
mark.
with a saw.
A diamond.
A diamond saw.
Diamond saw again.
Okay.
This time we're using it wet.
It's a
Diamond's
wet
gonna
saw,
run
no
wet.
dust, and it won't heat up.
Yeah.
And okay.
Saves the diamonds.
Saves the diamond. Well, it's always good to save the diamonds. Did you ever see that movie, The Family Jewels, with Jerry Lewis?
Oh, yeah.
It's a great movie. Okay, now we're going to put this in here. That's the mark we made. Now we put this up against, see, there's a moving bed on here. And what we're going to do is we're going to line this mark up with the blade.
And the table square to the blade.
Right, this is square in here, right? And we'll move it and make it, it cuts to the left. So we want to cut it right at this edge here. See? Now here's the fence. This goes in here right against where we just set it. All right? And we tighten this up. And we're going to hold both. It's going to hold the bed, and I'm going to hold this. I'm going to hold a little piece of tile as we go. All right? Now, this is a wet blade, so it cuts really nice.
professional.
Look at that. This is the piece we want, right?
Yeah, no.
Let's take this back in and see. Thanks, Denny. This is the cut we made, and we had to notch it a little bit just by running it up to the wet saw that length and a little bit to the side because we've realized we're going to run into the electrical outlet here, the plate. So now it'll fit around that plate. The other one that we cut, it's all right. It passes it. It clears it. And that wet saw cost $1,200, but then he says you can rent them for about $150 a day. And if that intimidates you, well, you can do it with a dry cutter, but that takes a little bit of time, a little bit of skill. We'll show you that later. There's the first one. And here's the second one. Perfect.
For small adjustments around the door jambs, you may have to use the tile nippers. Make your marks, then nip away at the tile a little bit at a time. All right, now here's a dry cutter. And I'm going to line up my marks at the top and at the bottom. This is going to help me set it. Now, lo and behold, these marks are going to make a slightly not true line because that cabinet is not true. So this has got a carbon tip blade on it. And we're going to line that carbon tip blade on the top and on the bottom. Now I'm going to put my knee up here and we're going to scribe it good and hard. All right. Now I'm going to take this back up to the top, about 2 inches from the top. I'm just going to tap it down. And this bar should break it. There you go. All right. Now I'll scuttle over here. Put the cut side against the wall. Get my gap. Success, finally. Hey, was you having a dream, Shirley?
Yeah, I was dreaming of William F. Buckley. We were on firing line.
I'd like to put him on a...
Fired at him.
If any man has grown into his face, there's the man. He's Dorian Gray now. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy.
Look at this.
This is grout.
This is a sanded grout.
Right, grout is a bonding agent. When you need a bonding agent that's a little thinner than cement, it needs to get into small spaces like the spaces in between the tiles here. So this is a sanded bonding agent for a little added strength, and it is thin, and we're going to show you how to put it on. And also,
this is
another lovely thing.
Oh, you can show them the grout.
We have a little palette of colored grout. For colored grout who have considered suicide when the rainbow is enough. And here's a rainbow.
It's a Eugene palette.
Of colored grouts. And this is what we've picked. You can say, I want a pink grout if you're in that part of the world. Or natural gray is what we've chosen.
That's it. And this is how it's applied. This is called a float, not a trowel. It's a float. And It's got a rubber bottom, and it's got a little bent edge here, which is more from use, I think, than from construction.
And we were mixing that with an edging trowel or a margin trowel.
Margin trowel. And clean out the edges in here.
And we also need a bucket of water because after we grout and it hazes...
Jonathan Hayes?
After it hazes, we're going to sponge it off with a wet sponge.
And the action is with this, with the stuff, to go on a 45 and force it all into the cracks. And once you have the grout pretty much forced into all of the cracks, you want to take from the side, squeeze down real hard, and squeegee the bulk of it aside so there's less of it to sponge off.
Here's our sponges. They're clean sponges. The water's clean. We want to wring out the sponges completely. Just make them damp.
You don't want it soaking, but you don't want it too dry.
And you can rub a little rough as long as you keep the bottom flat, and you don't want to get into the grout, and you're doing 4 at a time in a rough manner. First, get 4 wet.
And then
Push down flat. Keep wringing out.
The secret is in cleaning. You got to clean the sponge. If you don't clean the sponge, you're just going to be putting the dirt back on.
Continue to grout and rough sponge the entire floor the same way. Now we're going to do clean or dry or finish sponging.
So you see everything is hazed. We let it sit for about an hour, so everything is nice and chalky and gray
and we
after
got
the
clean
rough
water.
sponging. And now we got clean water and clean sponges.
And you got to make sure it's as dry as you can get it, just a little damp.
Look, all of a sudden.
And here's a technique you can do. You're not pressing hard, and you can just go
It's
2
the
at a
flat of the
time.
sponge.
2 at a time, just like that, straight across. And
then rinse.
Rinse it out again.
And squeeze.
2 at a time. Turn it over. Pass again.
They look real nice.
And you're done.
Just
Buffing
a towel.
Yeah, dry towels, just to get all the loose, tiny, hazed particulate matter that was once grout off.
Once we get everything buffed, and for maintenance, what you can do is take 1 cup of white vinegar to a bucket of water.
And just damp mop. Look, Hedy Lamarr.
You look like Victor Mature.
Thank you, I think. Wait, that was Stallone before Stallone.
That's
What's
true.
The same
He couldn't
eyes.
act either.
Exactly.
We'll be right back.
He never gained all that weight, though. Hey, welcome back.
And look, the lasagna, spinach lasagna noodles.
It's drying. It's a vinyl cove molding.
Cove molding.
For the baseboard. And then here we have special adhesive.
It's onion dip. That's what it looks like.
It's true. And you just smush it on in a thin application onto the tiny little ridges
Yeah,
here.
it's got ridges on it.
Right. You start about a ½ inch from the top there.
Well, you don't want it closer than that, because if you put it closer, when you put it against the wall, it's going to ooze up onto the wall.
And you don't have to do it on the curved part either, just in the center section. Just press it down. See that bottom curved part is just going to sit on the floor flat. And of course, vinyl, just like vinyl in any other application, very easily cleaned up.
And look, a
with
nice
sponge.
edge. A very nice edge. And now we'll just go down and we'll start making more.
The floor's done, and it's pre-glazed tile, so it doesn't need sealing. Well, a ceiling's up there. Why would a floor need a ceiling?
Shut up.
Okay.
All you have to do is sweep and damp mop every once in a while, but don't use any detergent. You don't need it.
I use a Wolverine and a bucket of soapy water and let it scurry. Kick it in the butt every so often. Please.
You would.
Here's that before.
And the luxurious after look, so cool and nice against the bare feet in the summer.
So much thanks goes to Avalon Carpet and Tile for all their help, and American Marazzi Tile for providing all the fabulous materials.
It's beautiful stuff.
Oh, they're fine people, and they make a good gnocchi too. Hey, and a great giant
To Doug Static and everybody, and Denny and everybody at
Homeworks. Hey, take a bow, fellas. Yay, nice
Now,
shoes.
Val, come on in.
Val, come on in.
Tell us what you think.
Looks beautiful.
See, you didn't
guys
think we'd
did a
finish.
No, I didn't. Great job.
Does it feel nice and cool again? Ooh, and look
Yes.
at the painted toenails.
Looks nice
Look at
against the terracotta.
them. Where's the pussycat?
Still at the beach.
Really? I can
Yes.
see with the little sunglasses.
I'm Joe Lorario.
I'm Ed Feldman. Do the snappy
And
clothes.
as we always say,
Home is nice.
it is nice, isn't it? Let's go get a cocktail.
Doll face. I told you a fox lived here. Help me.
Later.
Thursday. It smells like Barbie dolls.
It does.
Like vinyl. The combination of Proust and Freud, I won't elaborate on.
Well, which tile is it?
10:15.
Will you stop it?